Battle Corps 94. More action than ever before. There's Docker, Shipwreck, Metalhead, Night Creeper Leader.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle.
Well, we're finally here. It's time to wrap up the entire original G.I.Joe action figure line rankings as we take a look at the final year, 1994.
So let's get cracking.
As always, we'll be going alphabetically with the Joes and the bad guys on their own list.
And I'm having a bit of a problem straight away.
You see, in 1994, Hasbro put out the G.I. Joe 30th Anniversary Action Team boxes. These were 3 3/4 inch versions of the original 1960s G.I. Joes. They were Action Marine, Pilot, Astronaut, Sailor, and Soldier, with the Pilot and Sailor having 2 figures for a total of 7. The problem is, these aren't part of the main G.I. Joe line, so I'm not sure they should even be here.
Let's compromise.
Since it's a nice set with good figures, I'll put the group in the good tier as honorable mentions. We start the list proper with Beachhead, who's a repaint of the 92 version. Oh yeah, it's not as bad as 1992, but there will still be plenty of repaints to be seen today. In this case, they gave him an ugly yellow vest. Even so, I still like the figure, but it doesn't go into the best tier like the previous version did. I'll still put it in the good tier. Bushido lets me go back to Old Faithful, the Arctic tier list, so he goes in the same spot as on that one, in the worst tier. Countdown takes us to Star Brigade. The colors aren't great, but not terrible either. That is until you look at the helmet, and that thing stands out like a sore thumb, and rockets the figure down to the bad or ugly tier. Dial Tone is back, and I kinda wanna compare him to Beachhead because of the ugly yellow. I was gonna let it slide too, but then there's the goofy ass helmet, so he gets the countdown treatment and goes into the bad and ugly tier.
Back to Star Brigade.
And the final Duke figure of the original line. The figure itself is pretty good, but this must be a trend in 1994 because the helmet is just what the hell. Let's forget for a moment that it looks like a fishbowl and focus on the fact this space helmet, which is used to survive in the vacuum of space, doesn't close around his neck. He goes into the weird tier just for that. Effects helmet, though a little goofy, at least closes all the way. The problem here is that his hands are exposed and frankly his entire outfit looks like it's Casual Friday, not a spacesuit. It's a lot to deal with, so he goes into the weird tier too. Flint has escaped eco-warrior hell and moved to the desert to find himself again. And for once, there's a good helmet. I also don't really have any complaints about the figure, so he can be proud of his place in the best tier. Gears. Gears is just another barricade. I have no idea why they didn't just call this Barricade version 3. Just 2 more and you'll have a full Power Rangers team. Like his twins, he goes into the weird tier.
The next one is also a special case.
It's the mail-in G.I. Joe figure called, G.I. Joe. Yeah, it's Joe Colton. And this is an homage to the original 60s G.I. Joe figure. Unlike the action team, this guy is actually part of the team, and it's a good figure, so into that tier he goes.
Oh, I know some of you have been looking forward to the next one.
The Ice Cream Soldier. The frickin' Ice Cream Soldier. The name alone is the worst in G.I. Joe history. Yes, the file card explains it, but that doesn't make it any less stupid. But the killing blow is the color scheme. I mean, there's ugly, and then there's the very concept of ugliness we see here. All this puts him into the actual worst tier. Lifeline is back, and he's got a new look. And it's a bit more normal than his old outfit. I can dig it. It's one of the cooler 1994 figures, but I still can't call it great. The figure is a nice fit for the good tier though. Nunchuck brings us back to the agony that are the Shadow Ninjas. They remain a stupid idea, and the figures look terrible, so into the worst tier he goes. And you know what? Let's forget the alphabet for a moment, as I'm just gonna chuck Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in there too to be done with it. Shame on all of them.
And like a bad odor you can't get rid of,
Ozone is back once again, and I don't know how this nothing character got 4 freaking figures made of him. He joins his brothers in the weird tier. Payload is back with a vengeance, and I gotta admit, I kinda like this look. It's probably the best the mold has looked, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm gonna put him in the good tier. Now, for reasons only known to Hasbro and their drug dealer, Payload got a second figure in 1994, and it was this one.
oh dear.
That's not good. I mean, it's kinda like Duke, but in a completely different way, as the color makes it look like he's got a fishbowl on his head too. It ruins it and proves colors matter as it goes into the ugly side of the bad and ugly tier. Roadblock's final hurrah is a repaint of his 92 figure. Now yes, it is orange, but it's not the bad kind of orange, and does evoke images of astronauts in their flight suits during the 80s and 90s. So I'm putting him in the good tier, and he can thank me for it. Sci-fi is a mess. He's got a robot hand because Robo-Joe was such a success, I guess. And that yellow hurts to look at. Also, ridiculous helmets are back, I see. So, all of that means there's only one place for the figure, the bad and ugly tier. Shipwreck is disappointing considering he's such an iconic character. I mean, they made him a generic diver here.
Which I don't think was in his job description before.
This could have been a new torpedo or something. That means it's the return of the long-neglected bland tier, as that's where this figure belongs. You're used to hearing this by now, but Snowstorm, same place as Arctic tier list, so let's move on. He gets to be in the good tier. And we say goodbye to Star Brigade with Space Shot, who I think wandered in from a Star Trek set. Stupid helmets are back with one that is no use in actual space, but just the fact that this could be a Starfleet uniform with grenades makes him cool enough to go into the good but weird tier. Stalker would have been a candidate for the best tier if it wasn't for the dumb yellow highlights that have no place being there. Without them, he could have been a very late addition to Night Force even. As it stands, he goes into the good tier.
And the final Joe of the original toy line is...
Well, it's quite the anticlimax, as it's Windchill version 2. He keeps his spot from the Arctic list on the bad or ugly tier. And those were all the Joes.
Well, technically that's not true.
This hasn't come up before, but there was a convention exclusive figure in 1994, the Fighter Pilot. But it was more adjacent to the original 60s Joe, like the Action Team was. I guess I'll add him to the Action Team as another honorable mention in the good tier.
Okay, just one more list to go. The bad guys are here.
And we start with the Alley Viper.
Ah!
Oh, that's horrible. You know what they went and did? They tried to mimic the colors of the original Alley Viper, and this monstrosity was the result. The mold is ruined, and just for that, I'm putting it in the actual worst tier. The Black Star is insecty and kinda ugly, but I think we can all agree that he's mostly weird looking, and since I don't hate the design, he can go into the weird tier.
Okay, brace yourselves for the next one.
Carcass. Frickin' Carcass. Or, as the angry video game nerd would say, more like Cark-ass, because what G.I.Joe really needed were aliens. And then they gave us this neon orange disaster. We've been over 12 years of G.I.Joe, but I think this is it. This one beats the previous champion. Carcass is the actual worst G.I. Joe figure ever made. It beats Galabulus. The king is dead. Long live the king.
Okay, we gotta move on.
Cobra Commander is next, and he's going to space too. The figure is okay, nothing very remarkable.
Until we come to the accessories.
Look at that helmet. That's just straight up Spaceballs, isn't it? You would think Dark Helmet would be the worst of it, but he also came with whatever the hell this thing is. A harness with a suction cup wheel? I'm not sure what the point is. I'm not sure what to even say here, except he's king of the weird tier.
And things get worse.
As we return to the Lunartic's aliens with low bottom max. A stick insect with an exposed brain in ugly colors. Gee, and people wondered why the G.I. Joe line died after 1994. It's not as bad as Carcass, then again nothing is, so he can be king of the regular worst tier. Major Blood has gone for a Mad Max look, but a little more futuristic than Wasteland. It's a bit weird, sure, but compared to most of 1994, he's downright normal, and I really dig the look, so he goes into the good tier.
And speaking of futuristic...
there's Metalhead, and I have to say, this figure is a definite improvement over the original. He doesn't look goofy anymore, though I can't deny the Hasbro Borg fan is at it again. Still, it's a good figure, so he goes into that tier. Night Creeper and Slice for that matter get the same treatment as the other Shadow Ninjas and go into the worst tier. And Night Creeper Leader is very fortunate that he's not in the Shadow Ninjas, so he avoids the worst tier. The figure is still crap though, so he goes into the surprisingly empty bad tier. The third and final alien, Predacon, is the best of the bunch, though that's not saying much. Still, I like him well enough to put him in the weird tier. The Techno Viper is a repaint of the original, and they sure went in a strange direction with the colors. That color scheme is bizarre, but I can't say I hate it. Sure, it sucks compared to the original, but I don't know, there's something about it that works for me, so I'll put him in the weird tier. And now, we come to the very last figure of the original G.I. Joe line.
Let's savor this moment, people.
Are we going out on a high? We are not, as it's the Viper version 4. I said that Techno Viper went in a strange direction, but this one has discovered a whole new way of traveling away from the original. He looks more like he was supposed to be a new Toxo Viper or something. The mold is pretty ugly, though the colors are okay. But considering how iconic the Viper is, this feels like an insult to the original. That's why I'm putting him in the worst tier.
Well, mission accomplished.
With these last 45 figures from 1994, all figures from the original G.I. Joe line have been ranked. This was quite the undertaking and one hell of a journey. I want to thank every one of you for going on this ride with me. It's been great fun, despite all my complaining. Now, you may still have some questions. What about the Street Fighter movie figures? Or the Mortal Kombat ones? Well, maybe we'll do those at some point. And maybe you want to see the 1997 and 98 line too. Well, I'm definitely gonna get to that, just not right now. And as for the years after that, I'll have to think about it.
Let me know in the comments what you want to see.
For now, half the battle is done with rankings for a while, as I've got reviews to get back to.
Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?
Battle Corps 94, more action than ever before. There's Stalker, Shipwreck, Metalhead, Night Creeper Leader.
Now you see that evil will always triumph, because good is dumb.